Hello, and welcome back to the Father Your Spark podcast. I am so excited today to have Rebecca McCoy on this podcast with me, sitting across the screen. Rebecca is a Maryland-based brand and commercial photographer and a disability advocate, helping entrepreneurs and businesses across the DMV step into their next level. She's been doing this since 2018, and she comes with a deep understanding of marketing strategy, visual identity, and Rebecca really specializes in seeing where her clients are heading and crafting imagery that pulls them towards that future version of their brand. Her work really elevates how businesses are perceived, helps them attract dream clients, and transforms their visual presence entirely. She's also a mom to a disabled child, and she brings a deeply human-centered lens to every session that she does, ensuring every person feels safe and celebrated and seen. And what I loved about you, Rebecca, when I first even stumbled across your Instagram was how it felt like you showed up in all of your humanness, in like authenticity, bold, and just this really beautiful self-expression, and how you shared different reels and things about celebrating other people in the industry. And this podcast also, if you're listening to this, we're going to be talking a lot about belief and what it takes to believe in yourself. And I just got like snippets from seeing your story from the outside of like, wow, it must have taken something to really believe in what you're creating, what you're building, the work that you're doing. And I'm just so excited to have you on the podcast today. So thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here. This is my first ever podcast interview. It feels like a long time coming. Super happy to be here.
Amazing. Yes. So I'm curious too, when you hear this topic about belief, is there an example that comes to your mind? And I'm sure there's many, but an example that comes to your mind to share right now of where you've experienced you shifting belief and how that has created a huge impact in your life, maybe changing the trajectory of your life. Like, what impact has belief had on you and your journey?
Oh man, that is such a big one. It's had a huge impact on me. So I was raised in a fundamentalist religious homeschool cult, for lack of a better term, and a very religious household. So belief has always been the center of everything I've ever experienced or thought. And as a child, obviously those beliefs were heavily controlled by my parents, by the peers that I was in community with. And now as an adult, it has almost become like a different entity. Like I feel like I relate to belief a little bit differently. Because growing up in fundamental religion and evangelicalism, belief is all about believing in the unseen, believing in God, believing in the miracles that, come about your life as a like follower of Christ or living in the church or whatever. And now as an adult, I have had to shift my beliefs for the better of my mental health and my family more to things that I can kind of see. I still believe in things I can't see. But now I've sort of had to shift my belief system and like thinking towards like things that I've been able to see proven. Like when I have been able to, in my business, for instance, respond to a really challenging situation and adapt and make decisions on the fly and see that the results of those were good and that I made good decisions and that I can trust my own judgment, that is more the type of belief that is really like a big part of my life. Like trusting in my abilities and my ability to just like make good decisions. Because I was kind of taught to not trust myself like at all. Like intuition, self-intuition is kind of a big no-no in the circles that I grew up in. So it has been a very radical journey to believe in my own skills and abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting because when it comes to belief, of course we can believe in many things. We can believe in things external from us and kind of put the power in the hands of religion and corporations and governments, whatever, something external. And it sounds like there came to be this moment of you're like, no, I need to, that's an inside job. I want to focus more on what I believe about myself, what I believe about my own power. And I'm curious too, of like, and maybe it was gradual, maybe not. Is there anything that helped you shift that perspective or lens of like, okay, I need to turn this around inside?
Yeah. So actually, probably one of the biggest catalysts was my marriage and my partnership with my husband. So I met my now husband when I was like 18, and I was raised in the church, extremely conservative, very sheltered, and he was not, like, at all. We met working. We were like working in a restaurant, waiting tables, and through the years of us like developing our relationship, getting to know each other, falling in love, becoming like totally besotted with each other, he actually believed in me so much, like so
Mm,
much more than I believed in myself. Like when we met, I wanted to believe things about myself. Like I wanted to believe that I was intelligent and that I could build skills really quickly. But those beliefs were just not instilled in me as a child within myself. So I really did not start to believe those types of things. Like pretty much any positive thing about me, aside from the like acceptable positive things that women in the church are told to believe about themselves, but all the things that make me truly unique, I didn't start to believe in until he started reflecting them back to me and
mm,
telling me what he saw in me. So that was probably like the start of it. Like between the ages of like 18 and 24 was like being in a relationship with this person who really had a completely different background than me, completely different way of looking at the world.
yeah,
And so his like baseline for how he saw things was so opposite mine that he was able to see lots of things I couldn't see in myself.
yeah.
So that was definitely the start for me.
Yeah. And that's such a powerful reminder of how much the messages that we're receiving can impact us. And if you're in a culture, in a family, surrounded by people who, you know, don't think anything is possible, like it can be harder to fight against that versus when we surround ourselves with people who do believe in us, do believe in big dreams, do believe in things. They can become a powerful mirror for us to change our perspective, shift our perspective, see things from a different angle, and be willing to reconsider. So it sounds like having a person like that in your life made a huge difference.
Yes, I think that's one of the reasons why I love recognizing that in other people now, especially in
Mhm.
my business, especially in the work that I do. I mean, if you think about it, so brand photography is kind of like it is literally taking what is best about what someone does and about the work they do and finding a way to convey that through images. And it's one of my favorite parts of my job because so
Mhm.
often when I talk to business owners and we do like a whole questionnaire series, I get to know the work they're doing, I get to know their industry so that I can really tailor their session specifically to their needs. And so many people will start to tell me about the work that they're doing, but they might not have that like big picture vision about what makes them truly unique or truly different or like how they're changing their industry. So
Mm,
getting to recognize that in other people is a huge gift because that is what I needed myself before I was able to start my business.
yeah,
So it's a really cool experience to be able to offer that perspective to other people. And oftentimes the people that I'm working with, they are going through a transformation. That's usually why they want photos.
yeah,
And so when I have the opportunity to name that like with them, sometimes I'll name it and they'll be like, "Yes, oh my gosh." And like they're like, "Yes, that's exactly what I've been telling myself," but they didn't use those exact words to communicate it to me. It's a special experience. It's like watching the cocoon like start to open almost.
yes, so powerful. And one thing I think a lot about when it comes to building belief. And when I think about belief, for me, I think about like confidence, believing we're capable, believing our dreams are possible. So, one thing I think about that is this concept of the gap versus the gain. And so often people might look at their past, and if they experience challenges or setbacks, they could tell a story of, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I should be further along by now. Why did this happen to me? All these things. Or you could look at your past and what's happened and choose to believe an empowering story. And that's really what I heard in everything that you just articulated is like, all my challenges, or at least these ones that you just described, now fuel the work that you do. So I'm curious of how you think about that of like, A, has it ever been hard to look at your past and find the gold in it? Or like what has helped you be able to take some of the challenging experiences that you've had and have that be something that actually fuels your like belief and confidence and gifts?
I love this question because it's very much in progress for me. uh, okay, let's see. How do I want to start this? I have been really, really I've been working on seeing my past as something that happened, and I've been working on reframing it.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% there,
Yeah.
but I'm in progress. And for a really long time, therapy has helped me with this. So, like, a little clap for all of our therapists out there. We need you. We need you so much because I spent probably a good 2 years in talk therapy talking about just what it was like growing up in the household I grew up in. I was discouraged from higher education as a woman.
Mhm.
I was told a lot of stereotypes about women, a lot of patriarchal stereotypes. You're not good at math. You're not good at science. Like, I was very much living the life of a girl who was told your job is to grow up, get married, have children, be a mom. That's it. That's it. And I am married. I do have 3 kids. I am a mom now. And it wasn't until I had those kids
Mm.
and my husband actually was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So he went through 6 months of chemotherapy. He's now 6 months cancer free, not 6 months, 6 years. So we're very thankful for that. But it wasn't until he was going through that period of time that I realized the way that I had been taught to look at myself as a woman was holding me back from honestly just the keys to survival. Like, you don't really think when you're growing up in the church, you're kind of just told if you just sort of follow these like exact rules, your life will go well.
Mm.
What isn't talked about is when life doesn't go well, and then where do you go from there?
Yeah.
So, for a really, really long time, I honestly struggled with a lot of feelings of grief, a lot of feelings of anger, a lot
Mhm.
of resentment towards my parents for making the decision that they made and raising me the way that they did because without an income and without a way to provide for myself, if something did happen to my partner, I've got 3 children now
Yeah.
that I need to have a way to provide for.
Yeah.
So, truthfully, that period of time where my husband was going through chemo, we had a 2.5-year-old and an infant.
Mm.
Our second child was 7 weeks old. That was a huge, huge wake up call for me. It
Mm.
was kind of a trial by fire. I mean, like, by a lot. And I started thinking and realizing how important it was that I find a way to provide for my kids if anything were to happen.
Yeah.
And so I started my business, and I definitely wasn't ready. And I definitely wasn't like, I was excited. I was nervous. I did not believe in myself at all. But over the last couple of years, I mean, well, 5, 6, 7 years, I have been able to speak about my upbringing with so much more neutrality
Mhm.
because I realize that ultimately, as hard as it is to like look at my childhood and be like, oh my gosh, I lost out on this, I lost out on this. I know that my parents were making the decisions they were making because they thought it was good for us.
Yeah.
And that's the reality because I know as a parent, I do the same thing. I make decisions that I think are good. And I'm only working with the information I have.
Yeah.
It was a different world when I was being raised in like the 90s and early 2000s. Like, they only had access to the information they had. So A big part of it was really just learning how to forgive my parents
Mm-hmm.
and to hold the accountability towards the people that it actually belonged with, which were the people who were putting the I hate to say it, but the propaganda in my parents' hands and telling them this is the way. So now, as a business owner of 7, 8 years now, I have been able to see that my childhood, it outfitted me with a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish it on my kids,
Yeah.
which is why I'm raising them differently. And I
Mm-hmm.
do truly believe that they are going to have a smoother path into adulthood because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not in a place where I can't waste energy on anger over my childhood anymore. I think that's what it honestly is. It's like it's an energy output.
Yeah.
The longer that I sit thinking about the way that I was raised and thinking about the things I missed out on, it's like it's a good thing for me to acknowledge it and feel the feelings.
Yep.
Also, I can't live there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just been this like regular practice of like letting myself feel the feelings and then maybe talking about it with someone that I love, having a therapy appointment and just like spilling my guts and like crying for an hour. And then it's been a choice I've had to make to just like sit back up and be like, okay, we felt those feelings. What are
Mm-hmm.
we going to do about it today? Like, what decisions are we going to make? Are we going to make decisions that are just going to enforce all the things that are untrue that I
Yeah.
was raised to believe about myself? Or am I going to prove to myself that I am resilient, reliable, adaptable, intelligent?
Yeah.
And every time I make that choice, I honestly just become a happier person.
Yeah.
So it's been a very, very long road of like trial and error of making decisions that affirm my own self-belief and my confidence, living in confidence before I really felt it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when those feelings do come up, we feel them, we allow them, we share them, and then we can let them go and just
Mm-hmm.
keep making the decision to trust in myself basically and
That's
in the community around me too.
so good. So there's so many nuggets in what you said that I want to highlight and speak to. One is that belief is a journey. And I feel like as I've been talking about belief, what I don't ever want people to hear is that, oh, I need to be 100% in belief all the time. If I'm not there, then like something has gone wrong. And it's just like, no, I think belief is something that we can always be working on for the rest of our lives. And once we believe in this next level, then we're going to bump up against things that in our next level of expansion. So A, of like belief is a journey. And B, that you were talking about how at the beginning of your business, you didn't necessarily believe in yourself that much and you were still able to take action. So that's something too of like, even if you're still working on belief, like we can be building it in the same moments that we're taking action and moving forward and doing our best. And this is something that I teach my coaching clients is this concept of kinetic confidence, is that confidence can be built as we're in action. And you talked about this in other moments of like you developed confidence by just like getting out there and trying new things and doing things. And that's another way that we can build evidence of our capacity, what we're capable of. So I love that you like highlighted that. And another thing that you talked about that I think is really important is how belief is connected to energy. So, yes, exactly what you said of like it's important, it's valuable to feel our feelings, if there's things that we need to process, especially if it's connected to like super heavy kind of like traumatic things, like absolutely. There is value in processing all those emotions, giving yourself space to feel all those things. And you talked about belief being a choice. And this is something I think about a lot because our brain does offer us many, many thoughts a day. And some of them feel good and some of them do not. And if we think a thought like, oh, I'm not capable, this is never going to work, what am I doing? I'm making a huge mistake. Like all of those thoughts feel energetically not great, heavy, discouraging, shitty, tight, whatever, however they make you feel if you're listening to this. And we can become aware of that and choose intentionally a thought that feels better. Oh, I'm willing to be a beginner at this. I'm willing to try something new for the first time. I'm willing to get better every step of the way, whatever it is. So to really be able to recognize that we have agency in what we're believing. And even though like belief is something that we can practice, it's a habit that we can build. And if we're stuck in like a negative thought spiral, it's often because like that's just what's practiced. That's what we're used to. That's what we've been conditioned to believe. It's a default. But the more we can catch it, sometimes it takes energy to like steer the ship in the other direction. And we are capable of steering the ship in the other direction. So I love that you shared all of those things, like the connection to energy, the choice, because that's definitely how I see it as well.
It's so funny that you would say that because going back to religion, because that's where so much of it started, in evangelicalism, it is actually talked about a lot that like choosing to believe in God is also a choice. And it's talked about a lot that like love being a verb and an action and a choice that you make. Now,
Mhm.
the funny thing is that a lot of the time in evangelicalism, it's like they're using that as like a veil to tell you believe in it and like don't ask questions. But but you can apply that logic to self-belief and you can apply that logic to your own self-talk. Like I know that for me especially a lot of my own struggles really had to do with my self-talk, and it was self-talk I learned in religion. It was just like
Mhm.
honestly beating myself up in my own head all the time.
Mhm.
And I can't remember exactly when that started to change. It might I think it's been slowly changing for a really long time,
Mhm.
because this was definitely something that my partner has pointed out to me over the years. Like, there were so many times where he's like, "Why are you so hard on
Mhm.
yourself? Why are you so mean to yourself?" And I was just like, "Because these things are true." And then he
Yeah.
was like, "Are they though?" He's like, "I don't think
Yes.
those things are true about you." And it really wasn't until someone who I mean, we met when I was so young. We were both young. We were both 18. And I have never felt safer with someone than when I met him. Like, he always made me feel accepted, cared about, loved. Like, he always had a listening ear for me. And I think it was something about like someone who was my ultimate safe space looking me in the eyes and saying, "I don't see those things in you.
Yeah.
So why do you see them?"
Yeah.
And then hearing that through the years, and then also going to talk therapy and a therapist going, "When's the first time you think you ever thought that about yourself?" And me being like, "No, no, not my childhood. We're not going there." But I mean, we have to go there. We have to like think and reflect on like where these things originate. But when you kind of think about where they originate and you realize that they didn't actually originate in your own brain,
Mm.
then all of a sudden you go, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. So if that didn't come from me, maybe I actually do have the power to change how I talk to myself, change how I see myself." And so, I mean, it really, so much of it started with me just like complimenting myself, even when I didn't really believe it.
Yes.
But just like saying to myself, "Rebecca, you're adaptable. Look at all these times that you've adapted to like challenges
Mhm.
that just sprung up out of nowhere. You have adapted. You've made good decisions. Trust
Mhm.
that."
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't believe it at first.
Yep.
Now I believe it a lot more because I've got the evidence of years of having those conversations with myself and proving to myself that I can rise to the challenge, I can be reliable, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. And I love that because I think so often some people have tried to do mindset work or affirmations and they might say something to themselves, but they're not actually believing it. So it feels like empty words. And I think this concept can sometimes feel vague. That's why I created this event, Believe, to actually explore what gets in the way of believing. Because so often people just think, oh, it's the truth that I'm not capable. It's the truth that I'm this kind of person or that kind of person or whatever it is that their brain is telling them, which is clearly not true. But it's so hard sometimes to see that when we're swimming in the waters of our own mind. So for me, being able to have actual, like, tangible, practical strategies and tools and practices to build belief has been invaluable. So I'll talk more about that in a little bit. And what I want to ask you about now, because one of the things I think about so much as a feng shui consultant is the power of senses, colors, imagery, what we wear, what we surround ourselves with. So, what have you seen for yourself of, like, the power of photography to help people believe or, like, see themselves differently?
So actually, I saw a huge shift in my self belief when I started to regularly be photographed. As a photographer, it can be a very common thing among photographers for us to love photographing other people,
Hmm.
but to not enjoy being photographed ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, about, I want to say like 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half. I think last year was my big year for getting in front of the camera. And
Mm.
I made a very, very huge effort. I traded with a bunch of other photographers, different ones. Actually, it was probably 2 years now. So it's been 2 years that I've been regularly letting myself be photographed, either just like hiring other photographers to photograph me, trading with other photographers. And I will say that the first time that I did this, when I saw myself through the lens, I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified and I was like shocked. I almost didn't recognize myself.
Wow.
And it's like hard for me to put into words why that is. I think that one of the reasons why is probably because cameras really just tell the truth. And they are very technologically advanced, so they
Mm.
show us a lot of detail. And also there's like this weird like thing where like it mirrors. Have you ever heard of this where cameras mirror you or something? No, no, no. They show you as you appear to others, whereas when you look in a mirror, you're seeing your features mirrored. Does that
Okay.
make sense? But when a camera takes a picture of you, it's not mirrored. And so there's like this shift in your mindset where you're looking at yourself, but it's not the version of you see in the mirror, it's the version everybody else sees of you.
Hmm.
There's it's probably more
Like,
technical than that.
directionally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see it
So
now.
when you see the photo of yourself through the camera, you're literally seeing what other people see. You're
Okay.
not even seeing what you see in a mirror because
Yeah.
the version you see in the mirror is literally just like for you. That's just the version you see.
Yeah.
But like all of my features are kind of actually opposite when people are looking at me. I know
Mm.
this is like this is so confusing, but I swear this is like a real proven thing. This
Yes.
is a thing that people talk about in photography.
Yeah.
And this is one reason why a lot of people, when they first see themselves in a camera photo, they literally are like, no, that's not me. Because your brain hasn't seen it. Your brain is not used to
Hmm.
seeing yourself the way that other people see you.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you see yourself that way, the more you become accustomed to and start to appreciate that version of yourself, the less scary it is. So
Mm.
personally, I needed to be photographed like a lot. I know that sounds like I don't know I don't know how it sounds. But I started to transform when I started to get in front of the camera, get comfortable, and I
Mm-hmm.
started to just grow my confidence in seeing how other people saw me and just not feeling weird or ashamed about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just realizing this is just the version of me that people see walking around in the world. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's so much that I feel like energetically goes into being photographed, of, like, being comfortable being seen, asking yourself, like, how you want to show up. And I had a brand photo shoot at the end of 2025, and it had been like 5 years, I think, since I had one. And it had been so long, and I really wanted photographs that, like, captured the essence of, like, who I was and how I had grown. And as I was, like, preparing for this photo shoot, I kept trying to find new clothes and all these things that would make me feel like I wanted to feel. And what I eventually realized, kind of like what you talked about at the beginning of this conversation, of, like, the external versus internal, I was like, no clothes are going to make me feel how I want to feel. That needs to come from the inside and be exuded out through my energy, and let my clothes be an expression of that. So when that clicked for me, I was able to find the perfect clothes and everything else.
Mhm.
And just going through that experience was such a initiation, it felt like, of owning myself. And that's why I even like was inspired to change the name of my coaching program to Own Your Becoming, to really own your entire journey of how far you've come and who you are now, to really be able to express that in the world. So I love that's like what you capture for people and brands, of like being able to have that physical, digital expression that you really want to convey.
It's a whole experience being photographed and
Yes.
picking out your clothes and talking about locations and talking about like poses and prompts. It's vulnerable too. It's really vulnerable to have someone photograph you.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important to be working with someone that you just feel comfortable around,
Mm-hmm.
like that you can take full breaths around. A
Yeah.
lot of people, I work with them and I literally will be like, hey, let's just take a moment. Let's take a moment. I was like, let's just shake out some wiggles. Let's take a super deep breath. I say that a lot in my sessions. I'm like, let's stop and just take a really deep breath. I'm going to take it with you. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, because we've got a lot of energy. And I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time people feel nervous.
Yeah.
But my friend Audrey, who is she's an intuitive business coach. She's awesome. She often says that nervousness and excitement in the body can feel the same. And the way that I've sort of interpreted that for myself is that when I do feel nervous, I've started to say, oh, I'm so nervous. And I'm
Mm.
also really excited.
Yeah.
Or I must be excited then. Like, this must be important to me. And I've started to say that as like a way to sort of like hype myself up for things that
Mm-hmm.
I'm like feeling a little squirrely, a little nervous. Um, because I don't know, something about naming the nervousness while also naming I'm excited. This is important to me. Like
Yes.
something about that little combo, it makes me feel the pressure less. So I often say that to my clients too. When we're heading up to a session, if they're like, "Oh, I'm nervous," I'm like, "That means you're excited because this is
Yes.
really important to you."
Yeah.
And I see that, and I'm so excited to make space for that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's such a joy, especially when a session ends, when someone was like, oh, I thought that would be terrible, but I had so much fun. Like that
Yes.
to me means they felt comfortable.
So good.
And I
And
think feeling comfortable helps you feel confident.
absolutely. And what you just said, that mindset shift is also a belief. Like, I can believe that, oh, this is a sign of excitement. This is a sign that this is important. And it immediately changes your energy. So,
Yes.
again, this is the power of belief. And so often when clients come to me, people come to me and they're like, how do I achieve XYZ? Whether it's a business goal, a life goal, whatever it is, what you believe for me is the foundation of everything, because that impacts our energy. It impacts how we show up. And I'm sure have seen it in a photo shoot. If someone's nervous, if someone's like in their head or whatever, like the photos are going to come out completely different than if they feel comfortable, if they feel at ease. So it impacts everything from how others perceive us to the actions that we take. So I love that reminder of like the tiniest thought shift, belief shift can make a tremendous difference.
Oh, yeah. It's huge. It's huge. I see it all the time with people. And sometimes even just saying that, I can see people go,
Yes.
yeah, I am excited. This is important to me. Like
Mhm.
it's just like an instant shift and then it feels like less pressure because they can say, "Oh my gosh, okay, she gets it. She
Mhm.
gets that I have all these feelings and she also gets why I have them."
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. As we're talking, I'm so excited because another thing that I haven't shared on this podcast yet is that Rebecca and I are going to be working together for a photo shoot for all of my local in person clients coming up in July. Because I had such a transformational experience getting photographed recently. I was like, everyone needs this, especially my clients, because we're doing such deep inner work, transformation work. So to have the physical, tangible evidence of being able to see that, I know is going to be so magical. So I cannot wait for that experience
I'm
coming up soon.
so excited. I'm so excited. I just know that it's going to be so good. I
Mhm.
know that it's going to be so good. Whenever I work with people who are going through a transformation, especially if it involves a lot of like inner transformation. Honestly, I would say probably most of the people that I work with, if they're having a big shift in their business, a lot of it starts inside.
Yeah.
So just like that's a very real thing. But when people are like on that cusp, and they can like sense that that is showing through already. Oh my gosh, it's huge.
Yes. Yeah.
It's such a cool thing to do. I love working with people when they're there, because once they're told that people can see that in them, oh my gosh, it unlocks something. Like they just like light up, they glow, they're excited, they have a lot of like trust. And so when that trust is there, it's so much easier for me to prompt them and give them direction, because they're not like moving in doubt and nervousness. They're literally moving in like, I'm safe here. I'm
Hmm.
seen and understood here.
Hmm.
I can take the direction and trust that my body will know what to do and that I'm not going to do it wrong.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I have some clients who have been with me for a year, multiple years. So they're at this like culmination kind of point. And then I have some clients who are newer who I feel like this is going to be a catalyst. And it's like so powerful no matter what time it is, whether you're celebrating something or whether that's going to be something that ends up propelling you into the next level, the next iteration that you're becoming. So yeah, I can't wait. So I would love to hear too of like everything that we've been talking about. If there was one thing you wanted people to remember about belief, believing in themselves, like what is this like last message that you'd want to leave people with?
I think that I would want to tell people that if they don't believe in themselves, it doesn't have to be that way. And that does not have to be their forever truth.
Mhm.
I'd say it's okay to not believe in yourself. It's okay to feel that, and it's okay for that belief to be there, but you do not have to like concrete that into your existence.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the time the things that we believe about ourselves are put there by someone else.
Mhm.
And there is a huge amount of power and agency in telling yourself that you are allowed to reformat the things that have been downloaded into you.
Yes.
And honestly, it's like for your own good too. Like when you start making decisions about yourself, because I mean, most of the time I think we make those decisions and it's hard, but we want to believe the positive things rather than the negative things. And the negative things can have like a kernel of truth to them. I know that I've had lots of things like said to me throughout childhood and stuff like that that became my identity.
Mm.
But when I was going into my adulthood and like forming relationships with people who did not have the same upbringing as me, all of those people saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. They saw the positive things that they were like, but you have this and you have this
Yes.
and you have this. But I was so stuck for years on those little set of things that I was like, but these are the bad things. These are the bad things. And I've just learned that we're all human beings. We're all like on a spectrum of morality and behavior and stuff like that. And we're all going to make decisions that we're going to regret. That's like so
Mm.
normal. It's just part of being alive and
Yeah.
being human and being in community with other humans. But making a few wrong decisions and hurting people at some point when we're just sort of like floundering or doing our best or struggling, straight up struggling,
Yeah.
that does not have to be the definition for your entire existence.
Mm.
And once you see like, wow, I'm really not proud about how I handled this situation. I think I want to do better. You then have the ability to make the choice that the version of yourself that you like respect and look up to would make. And
Yeah.
maybe that is something like going to your partner after you were like snappy at them and being like, you know what? I was really out of line. For me, a lot of the time, it's apologizing to my kids because I'm a human being and every now and then I get a little short with them. And when I was a kid, I wasn't raised in a household where my parents had those like I mess up conversations with me. It was like I'm the
Mhm.
adult, I'm always right, you're the kid, you're always wrong,
Yeah.
which is like that's a whole thing. But I have found so much transformation and so much healing in being able to be the parent that looks at my child and says, hey, I was really short with you earlier. And you know what? I was really stressed about this situation and this situation. It doesn't justify my being snappy with you. And so I want to apologize to you. And I want to tell you that I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try to be better about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the really, really amazing thing about that is that admitting when I'm wrong to my kids has just it's strengthened my relationship with them
Mm.
so much.
Yeah.
And it has created this like space where I can be the parent that I wanted when I was a kid. I can have the relationship that I know that child Rebecca was really craving with her parents was just like open conversation
Mm-hmm.
about mistakes they make, mistakes I make, and how we can figure out things and move on together and be better with each other. So, make the mistakes, but they do not have to define you.
Mm-hmm.
You can have new information, you can make better decisions, and that can define your character. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pretty much that. Pretty much that.
Yeah. And I'm hearing this theme throughout the whole conversation of this permission to be human, to let go of perfectionism, and know that, again, like you get to choose the story that you tell about yourself. So you could be snappy with your kids and tell yourself the story that you're a terrible person and a terrible parent and they're going to hate you forever. Or you could tell the story that, okay, I'm human and I wish I had acted in a different way. And now I have the ability and opportunity to have an honest conversation with my children and believe that I can still show up in the way that I want to show up. And this one moment doesn't have to define me as a terrible parent. Like I get to choose what I'm going to believe about myself and what's actually possible in this relationship. So it's like it's never too late to believe. It's never too late to show up how you want to show up. And I love that reminder of like, this is not about perfection. It's about embracing your humanness and learning and growing every step of the way.
Yes. Yes. That's literally the perfect way to put it. I love that. Yes.
So if people are listening to this and want new photos, they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is RM Brand Photography. So my initials RM Brand Photography. You can also find me on my gym page if you're really into fitness. That's a really big part of my life. Definitely a big part of my self belief is getting in the gym and building muscle, but that's a whole other thing. That handle is Rebecca in the gym. So if you're on Instagram, I'd love to connect with you there. Or if you want to just go to my website is RebeccaMcCoyPhotos.com. So connect with me. I'd love to learn more about you. I definitely love to photograph your business.
Love it. And all of that information will be in the show notes. And yeah, like I said, some of the things that just inspired me most about you in this conversation is like the power of that physical capturing and helping that create belief. And that's one thing too that I want to share with everyone listening, that if you're local to Baltimore and you want to go deeper into this and explore, what do you want to believe in? What actually gets in the way of believing that? Why does it feel so hard sometimes? And what can support you to build belief in a really practical, embodied, tangible way? I'm hosting an event on June 25th called Believe at the House Handcrafted in Lauraville. And feng shui is going to be a piece of that, how to work with your surroundings. So come, it's going to be magical. And I just can't wait to hear what you want to believe in. And if you're not local to Baltimore and you're like, oh man, what about me? I offer free clarity calls where we can have a similar conversation and explore all of these things together. So you can go to ginakesbar.com/clarity call. And for Believe, I can't remember if I said it now, but it's ginakesbar.com/believe. So I hope to see you for some of those things. And definitely check out Rebecca. I cannot wait to have my own photos with her. So we'll share them when they come. And yeah, just thank you so much for being a part of this conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much for having me.